probably never seen this painting of Jesus before, but here's a crazy story. So when one of the world's greatest artists, and known as the craziest one too, became a Christian and decided to paint Jesus when he got this vision in his dream in 1950s. Salvador Dali was a Spanish surrealist artist, most known for his paintings of The Persistence of Memory, The Great Masturbator, and The Disintegration of the Persistence of Memory. I mean, you can't miss him. He's one of the world's most renowned painters. Or he's the guy with the crazy mustache. Salvador Dali was born on the 11th of May 1904 to a very religious and devout Catholic mother. However, his early years was somewhat divided because his father was a staunch atheist, diverting Dali's formal education in his youth towards a state-owned school to prevent his son from going to the Catholic school and being indoctrinated towards their belief in faith. And this gave Dali somewhat of a rebellious spirit. He hated religion, most specifically the Christian principles. He believed it to be somewhat suppressing, most pertinent in the expression of human sexual desires, which he eventually expressed in his 1929 film Un Chien Andalou, or The Andalusian Dog, depicting the suppressed emotions and sexual desires of a person. Dali, throughout the years, eventually grew some sort of hatred towards his mother, even going as far as saying in one of his paintings, "Sometimes I spit on my mother's portrait for pleasure." Perhaps it's all of the religious oppression that Dali underwent through his younger days, throughout his adolescence. Maybe it's that. But nonetheless, he grew to despise religion and his mother because of it. So his relationship with God, faith, and religion itself, especially Christianity and Jesus Christ, has been somewhat of a rocky relationship. That is until the 1950s, where he encountered a vision in his dream, a vision he would later call a cosmic dream. He had this cosmic dream in 1950s, 5 years after the atomic bomb was dropped in Japan, witnessing the devastation of the possibility of nuclear war and a nuclear apocalypse. Dali saw and had a vision, somewhat of a religious revelation, of the goodness to what it truly is. And Dali himself even said that the atom was the visual proof of God's existence. And this dream itself inspired Dali to go back in faith, and he became religious afterwards, proclaiming himself as a Catholic, developing an art style which he called nuclear mysticism, which is the amalgamation of scientific concepts and religious meanings. In his painting and in his portraits, an explanation of the divine, which leads us to the main event, the pinnacle of this, in 1958, where he finally created and finished his masterpiece, The Ascension of Christ. The Ascension of Christ has been depicted by many different artists all throughout history, masters alike, but this one is special because this depicts Jesus not from an angle that is upright, but more so laying down, never seen before. And what's even more impressive about this is that he used a special technique, a mathematical technique called the golden ratio. And this ratio is found all throughout nature, in body, atoms, in all living things. It is what creates harmony, visually and spiritually. He depicted this very method through using a pentagon within a circle, using the methods of divine geometry. He combined science mathematically and its precision towards art and its creation. Instantly we're greeted at the feet of Jesus, the center of this piece and the main reason to the sacrifice of Christ, that is the sin of this world, depicted by the dirty, unwashed feet of Jesus, signifying that he has taken the sin of this world and walked a righteous life so we could be free from the shackles of sin. Although his body is clean and left unblemished from his wounds, this is a proclamation of his victory over death. With the face looking above to the place he has prepared, the kingdom of heaven, his hands showing his journey from the claws of death, from the agony of his suffering. And behind all of this, we see the main inspiration from Dali's cosmic dream. He chose to portray a sunflower because, as he said, this was the perfect depiction of the harmonious symphony that he found in nature, which connects all of humanity. With the background covered in sharp red spikes showing the harshness of death, and the dark background as a portrayal of the everlasting void where souls perish. From the clouds above representing heaven, and the dove the enlightenment of the Holy Spirit. But reigning above all, beyond all of this, is Dali's most beloved wife, Gala, a representation of the divine and unconditional love, agape, a love which covers all, that is God's love. I'm sure you're asking yourself this question. How come you've never seen this? Where is it? Is it in any gallery? How come it's not as famous as all his other work? It's just as brilliant, if not even better, than most of his works. So why is that? Well, that's because this piece is owned by a Mexican businessman and art collector named Juan Antonio Perez Simon, bought in the 1970s and has been with him since, only being showcased briefly in some art exhibitions. But most of its existence has been hidden from the public eye, and that's why we don't get to see it. But its importance, nonetheless, is still pivotal to the development in the career of one of the world's greatest brilliant artistic minds in Salvador Dali. So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching this episode of Forget Me Not, where we go throughout all the different beautiful arts in history and try to dissect them and look at the meaning behind them. Because at the end of the day, art is the window to the psyche. They're the message of the past towards the future, and the future to the past. It's what connects us as humans, the mind, the heart. It's a message that can be read all throughout. So never forget them, because if we forget art, then we forget ourselves. So let me know what you think about the art of the Ascension of Christ, more specifically Salvador Dali's depiction of it and his rendition of it. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know. Comment down below. And if you'd like me to paint this piece or something similar and create something even better, make sure to subscribe to the channel and become a member so you can help become one of my patrons and make this piece come true. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.